This week on Now That's It.
We tried hiring it, but starting 6 years ago, we saw that wasn't enough for us. We started to do acquisitions, mostly for the customers, but also for the technicians and the in-house knowledge.
Robbie Swartenbroekx of Belgium-based MSP Be Inside reflects on his journey from joining a software company with a 4-person help desk to being the go-to guy in what is now a 50-person organization.
It's the mindset you have to have. See if something can be automated, see where we can do better.
Welcome to Now That's It, Stories of MSP Success, where we dive into the journeys of some of the trailblazers in our industry to find out how they used their passion for technology to help turn managed services into the thriving sector it is today.
Robbie, thank you for being with us today. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes to talk to us. Why don't we start off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Be Inside.
So I'm Robbie Swartenbroekx. I'm from Be Inside, a company of 50 persons now from Belgium. Our company is 25 years old, but we started as a software company. First for carpets and textile industries, creating ERPs. And after a few years, the questions came, can you do also all the rest of our computers? And everything flowed from there. I started in the company about 17 years ago. So I'm really long time part of Be Inside. When I first started, the support team was just 4 persons. Of those 4, still 3 of them are still working with us.
That's fantastic.
Now we've grown in about 22, 23 people just alone in the support team itself. And then we have some administration, sales, and still have the programming team to support the older customers.
Wow, that's great. I love the experience that, number one, you've been around for a long time and you've been part of the company and you have that longevity that when you employ staff, they continue to stay with the company. That's fantastic. I ran a 4-person service desk back in my past life. What's it been like to take a 4 or a 3-person service desk and continue to grow that? What's that been like?
We certainly had struggled sometimes.
Yeah.
With the 4-person desk. Everybody should do all. That's all. That was our strength. And now with Azure is coming more and more very specialized, hyper changing stuff coming out. We need to move that fast. So we have now a specialized team. We have a cloud team that certainly specializes in Azure and Microsoft 365 and stuff like that. We tried for so long to know everything, but in the end, 7 years ago, we decided, I know that this is really not going to work for us. We tried hiring it. Most of the time we did. But starting 6 years ago, we saw that wasn't enough for us. We started to do acquisitions, mostly for the customers, but also for the technicians and the in-house knowledge of what they were doing.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you've been at Be Inside for 17 years, and I'm sure you've done a number of things. And why don't you talk about your current role and what you do there?
At the moment, I'm a little bit the go-to guy, everything for N-Central or the other products of Enable that we are using. But I'm also the level 3 engineer for most of the other stuff. I myself specialize most in programming PowerShell, automating. That's what I do and like to do the most.
Yeah.
Automate as much as possible, make life smoother and more consequent for everyone.
So automation is a focus for you guys then, and you're passionate about it. So what's it been like to get the rest of the team on board? Are there things that you do with the technicians to sort of incent them, or just how have you gotten them to automate? Is there any sort of secret sauce to that?
Yeah, and nobody can do everything. I can't require of them that they should learn PowerShell. So the ones, there are a few that are very interested into it and they have the possibility, like I had the possibility to learn these skills. But it's the mindset you have to have. See if something can be automated, see where we can do better. And it's that mindset that everyone needs to have. And if they can't automate, maybe someone else from us can help them or automate it if it's possible.
That's great. So you mentioned N-Central, and I know you have some other enabled products as well. Talk about how sort of N-Central from a tool perspective has really helped your job and the role and servicing your customers?
Yeah, like I said, we were with a team of now 22 or 23 technicians, but we service more than 600 customers. Okay, they're not all 300 user customers, but it's a lot of customers. And without the tool like Uncentral, we can't do this. We really cannot. That's just impossible. You don't have an overview over all your devices. That's not workable anymore these days.
Is there a certain feature or piece of Uncentral that I think either you or your team really love?
Yeah, for me, that's of course the automation. The possibility to do the automation. There's always room for improvement. There's always something that can be improved in it. But the power it has, and even with the automation manager, you can even a less skilled person in PowerShell can start doing things and see what is possible there.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about what it's been like to work with Enable, as a partner, and just some of the interaction you've had with folks?
When we started, there were daily Q&A sessions, and I was a regular visitor of those. And I learned a lot of them, first of the product itself, but also what are others using, because sometimes I didn't have questions. I just joined them and saw what others were doing, what they were asking. Sometimes I engaged also in the conversation. Maybe sometimes I could help them. So that community still exists today. I look around here, you see it. There was a time when the community on the NRC was a little bit harder. Community created their own Slack, the community Slack. There are more than 1,000 people on it right now. They're all communicating with each other, helping each other. That's I think also the power of Enable or Uncentral. If you want, you can get help. There is mostly someone that is struggling with the same things and willing to help you.
That's great. So what are you most excited for, Robbie, in the future of technology? I mean, there's a lot of things that are changing, and AI and machine learning, and what gets you excited? Obviously, you're a scripter at heart and you want to automate, but what are you really excited about?
Yeah, like you said, the AI is a very front and edge technology, and the technology that's now everyone is talking about ChatGPT, DALL-E, and everything. A lot of vendors have or are starting to implement it in their product. But I also like the security part of it. How are you going to do that secure? I see that there will be a lot of changes there, and it's our exciting times to live in.
Great, it sure is. Robbie, I really thank you very much for being here and sharing some of your insights and your experiences, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
To receive updates about future episodes, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or your preferred podcast platform, and follow Enable on LinkedIn. We appreciate your support and encourage you to leave a rating or review, as it helps us reach more listeners who can benefit from the wealth of knowledge shared on this show. Remember, success is not a destination, it's a journey. And by immersing yourself in the stories of those who have walked the path before you, you'll gain the tools, inspiration and confidence to achieve your own triumphs. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes of Now That's It, Stories of MSP Success. This podcast provides educational information about issues that may be relevant to information technology service providers. Nothing in the podcast should be construed as any recommendation or endorsement by Enable, or as legal or any other advice. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the podcast does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. Views and opinions expressed by Enable employees are those of the employees and do not necessarily reflect the view of Enable or its officers and directors. This podcast may also contain forward-looking statements regarding future product plans, functionality, or developmental efforts that should not be interpreted as a commitment from Enable related to any deliverables or timeframe. All content is based on information available at the time of recording, and Enable has no obligation to update any forward-looking statements.